What is up, guys? Rikakis here, and I want to talk about Zur, the NPC character that visits the tower every weekend and sells exotic weapons and armor for your strange coins. Now, there's been a lot of talk from the Destiny community kind of involving negative things around Zur. People are saying that he's just more and more disappointing every time he comes. I mean, every time he sells the No Land Beyond, you can feel your heart drop. It's just depressing. More and more people are also saying that he's just not a benefit to the game and he should be removed from the Destiny franchise and in fact possibly from this Destiny itself. But is that true? Is Zur really a bad thing? Or maybe is he just a good thing that we've gotten sick of, or possibly a good thing that Bungie has implemented improperly? Well, that's what I want to talk about in this video. I think the most important thing to communicate to you guys about what I think about Zur is to tell what I thought of him when I first saw him. And that's really important because when I first saw him, I got him wrong. I didn't know exactly what he would be like, and that really shaped my opinion on Zur. When I first saw Zur, alright, this is very important, I thought that he had an extremely limited number of exotics he was selling, because I think in the very first 2 weeks, there was an overlap with one of the gears, and I think it was the Sunbreaker gauntlets for the Warlock. Now, because of this and a couple other clues, I assumed that he would have an extremely limited number of exotics he would sell. He would only sell about 2 or 3 of each gears for each of the different classes. He would only sell a few weapons from each category. For example, the only secondary weapon he would sell would be the Icebreaker sniper rifle, and that's it. He would sell the Truth, and that's it. And maybe primaries, he would sell the Soros Regime and the Red Death, and that's it. Now, with this idea in my mind, that's why I thought he was so awesome. He would sell a limited selection of exotics that would help new players. It would kind of be a stepping stone for new players to be able to get into the endgame content. So again, the concept of Zur, of an NPC selling exotic gear for arguably pretty easy to get resources in strange coins, again, I thought was a great idea, but the main thing is that I thought his selection was extremely limited. As it turns out, he is capable of selling pretty much every exotic in the game, and this is where things start to fall apart. It is a pretty terrible feeling when you buy something from Zur and then get that same thing from a Nightfall maybe just after you buy it. Or you get something from a Nightfall and who happens to sell it this week? Zur does. Because Zur sells pretty much every exotic, every time he does sell an exotic, it completely ruins the prestige and the exclusivity of that gun or armor. Now, I don't want to sound high and mighty like, yeah, you shouldn't deserve a lot of the guns to sell, you should have to go and earn them, but I mean, I kind of do fall on that side of the argument. I mean, think about probably your playstyle. Certainly my playstyle has changed drastically. I don't even bother with the Nightfalls a lot of the time. I have the exotics I want, and the few ones I don't, I know Zur is gonna sell, so I just don't care. Go back and watch some of the promotional videos that Bungie themselves did before the game released and hear them talk about exotics. Oh my gosh, they're so exclusive, they're so unique. When you have an exotic, people are gonna see you and know you've been through trials and fights, and they're gonna see your Guardian and say, wow, I really want that exotic. That's pretty much quoting what Bungie themselves were saying, but if an exotic has been sold by Zur multiple times, you don't see it with envy. You see it like, oh, bought it from Zur. It just ruins the prestige of the weapon so much, and again, the knowledge that Zur has pretty much everything on his loot table really lowers your desire to actually go out and get that loot. Destiny is a loot-based game, and the entire point of grinding and killing the same boss 40,000 times is to get the extremely prestigious loot that is possible to drop. But it's kind of a cop-out, and it's kind of something that stands completely against that system when you have an NPC that sells all of that loot, again, for a pretty easy-to-get currency. The first few weeks it was hard to get strange coins, but after that, it just started to flow in. I have hundreds of strange coins that I'm never going to spend. I know for myself and a lot of other players out there, just kind of getting the rest of the exotic gear and completing your collection is something that keeps you going. I mean, a lot of games have this. Skyrim, you're trying to get, the really cool special weapons in the game, and even games like Mass Effect 3 in the multiplayer, you're trying to complete your collection of weapons. And again, there's a lot of players that are with me in that boat. They just want to complete their collection, they want to get the rare gear in the game, and to that, Xur just ruins it. Xur just makes you not really want to play the game because you just don't care. Heck, he's going to sell the stuff you're trying to get anyways. Again, what's the point? Now, if I was in charge of Bungie, what I would do for Destiny 2 is make Xur what I originally thought he was. Just offer a few exotics as stepping stones for new players to get into the endgame content. Leave most of the exotics out of his loot table and let players actually explore the game and play the game and are awarded those through actually doing hard stuff in the game rather than just waiting until an NPC shows up. But what about Xur right now? What about Xur in Destiny? Well, frankly, he's sold so much stuff that there's no point in changing his loot table now. What I would maybe do though is that if a new DLC, for example, when the House of Wolves come out and they introduce their pathetic 5 new exotic weapons, maybe Xur only sells 2 or 3. Leave 2 or 3 of the new weapons actually just out there so people actually have to try to get them, and they're exclusive like exotics were supposed to be. Again, that's coming from Bungie. It's not just my idea of what I think exotics should be. This is like quoted from Bungie themselves talking about their own game. So in summary, I don't think Xur is the worst thing in the world by any means. He's not that bad, but the decision to make him sell pretty much the entire Destiny loot table for exotics was a pretty bad one. It really takes away from the prestige of those weapons and really lowers your want to play and find those guns. If I was in charge, I would definitely make him so that he only sold a specific amount of exotics in Destiny 2. Right now, there's not too much you can do about him, but he should definitely not sell all of the exotic guns, especially right away that come out with the new DLCs. He's already sold 2 of the new exotics right away when the new DLC came out. That's just not a good idea. You should try to make those guns as exclusive as possible so people are out there trying to get those guns. And on a side note, let's make the new exotics actually good, because the last 5 exotics introduced in the Dark Below DLC were all crap, and I'm going to make a video about how to fix that pretty soon. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe for more Destiny content, and as always, have a good day.